We're going to talk about three grammar pieces you need to understand in Spanish: subjects, verbs, and infinitives. In order to build a sentence, first you need a subject. Often, but not always, the subject is a person. Second, you need a verb. The verb is what the subject does. I eat. Yo como. These are complete sentences. They convey complete thoughts. So subjects and verbs go together, usually just like this: subject, verb. If you ask a question in Spanish, the order is reversed. Verb, subject. Yo como. ¿Comes tú? I eat. Eat you? Subjects do not always impact verbs the same way in English that they do in Spanish. Notice that eat did not change in English, but it did in Spanish. Notice also that we don't translate comes tú as do you eat, but as eat you. That is the literal translation. Literal translations from Spanish to English will often sound weird. When looking at translations in your textbook, ask yourself if they sound like bad English. If they don't, they probably aren't literal. Now, most textbooks line up subjects and verbs into what's called a verb chart. In this chart, textbooks show you how subjects change verbs. They divide verbs into three categories: AR, ER, and IR verbs, which is based upon how the verb ends in its infinitive form. The book says infinitives, your teacher says infinitives, and everyone in class scratches their head at that word, infinitives, but no one asks a question, so class rolls on. Simply put, infinitives are verbs that have not yet been changed to match a subject. Let's explain infinitives like this. Blue plus yellow equals green. When building a sentence, you take a subject, blue, and combine it with the infinitive form of the verb, yellow, in order to get it into a box, thus making the verb green. When the blue circle bumps into the yellow brackets, they close and the word inside goes from being loosely defined infinitive to a verb that has been assigned a person who does the action and a point in time during which the action is being done. For example, to be or not to be is an open statement. We don't know who we're talking about or when. The same with to eat or not to eat. We don't know who or when. We need a subject. If we combine the subject I with to eat, we get I eat. Yo como. It's true, yo como communicates the same thing as como, but don't let that make you think you should ever leave the blue words out. You just make it a habit to keep putting those visible subjects in all the time. The habit of stating your subject will help keep you on track. Now, as you begin learning Spanish, some textbooks will only introduce you to a few forms of a verb at once, thinking it unwise to hand you the whole chart. Don't follow that plan. Turn to the back of your text and begin learning complete charts. Don't let them spoon feed you. Start writing your own sentences. Remember, subjects do the action, verbs are the action.